Okay, so one of the other questions that we tend to get a lot from Queens home buyers, especially when we meet them for the first time, is how long will it take me to close? So how long does it take once I find a property that I like and get an accepted offer and a contract? How long will it take me until I close? A lot of times people have leases, people have timelines, they're trying to coordinate things. So here we'll give you just a quick breakdown, general rule of thumb for closing timelines, realistic timelines to expect. Okay, so for residential properties and condos, if you're taking a loan, then realistically you can look at a timeline of about 2 to 3 months from contract execution, so when buyer and seller sign the contract, until the closing date. Realistically, you're looking at 2 to 3 months if you're taking a loan on a residential house or a condo. Now, if you're buying a co-op, you typically add another month because they have a review process, an application process, board interview, and things of that nature. So usually that adds another month into the timeline, the contract to closing timeline. So for a co-op, instead of 2 to 3 months, you'd be looking at a timeline closer to 3 to 4 months. So realistically speaking, if you're buying a co-op, then your closing date, you should anticipate realistically that from contract execution, you would be looking at 3 to 4 months if you're taking a loan. Now, if you're buying all cash, then you just shave off a month of both of them. So for a residential property or condo, if you're buying all cash, then realistically you should be able to close within 1 to 2 months. And if you're buying a co-op all cash, then you should be able to close within 2 to 3 months. Okay, so you just shave a month off of the timeline if you were buying that property with a mortgage. Now, something important to consider regarding closing timelines. If you're buying a residential property or a condo, if there's any tenant issues, or if there's the property is tenant occupied, things of that nature. Tenant issues can delay your closing. So this is one of the things that can lead to a longer contract to closing timeline if there's any tenant issues. Also, title issues. Just be prepared that in New York, a lot of these houses are very old. When they go back and do the title searches, most of the time, things do come up. Usually the attorneys work to resolve them pretty quickly, but if any title issues come up that require more extensive work to resolve, then this can also add some time to your timeline. So we're giving you general rules of thumb, but there are things that can cause delays for co-ops. What can cause a delay is the co-op itself. So depending on the co-op, their board, their management company, they can move quicker or they can move slower. So if they only meet once a month, if they only interview potential buyers once or twice a month, then this can usually lead to a longer timeline, a longer contract to close timeline. So the most important thing, basic rule of thumb, residential condo 2 to 3 months, co-op 3 to 4 months, and then just be mindful of these other things that can come up which can cause delays in the process. Okay, hope that answers your question. If you have any other questions regarding your timeline from contract to close, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thanks.